Hi, and welcome to another installment of Virtual MOSI. My name is Amber, and today we're going to talk a little bit about music and how that music gets sent to our brains. So last week you learned all about musical instruments, but how does that sound get processed by our brains? Well, let's talk a little bit about sound to begin with. So as you saw at the beginning, we have this little device here, and it's just being used to show you how vibrations made by just sound can be used to move things around us. So if you want to make this at home and kind of play with different sounds, all you need is some sort of jar or a cup or something that you can fit a speaker into. You could also try to use a speaker from the outside, but it does work best from the inside. And a balloon. So you would just take that balloon and cut off the spout, kind of like that, and stretch that over the top of the cup. So first turn on your speaker. If you forget to turn it on, you won't be able to turn it on once it's on the inside. And lay that inside of your cup. Take your balloon, stretch it right across the top of the balloon. And then so that you can see that sound moving, I just use a little bit of salt. If you have other spices or things at home and you want to see how different things move, maybe if it's a lighter substance or heavier, you can see how they move around. And then you can play whatever sound you like. So we use this one today. You can see it just dances around. So if you do that at home, you can try all kinds of different things, different cups, different sounds. If you try something higher pitched or lower pitched, different things might make that move a little bit differently. So give that a try. And if you do, put it in the comments below. That way everyone else can see what you did. All right, so now that we have a little bit more background on sound itself, we're going to talk about how that sound then goes from the outside world into our brains. But before we get started, I want to see if you have a little bit of background yourselves. So can anyone tell me how many bones we use in hearing? If you have an idea of how many bones we use to hear, put that in the comments below. And stay tuned. We're going to go through a little bit of the anatomy, and we'll see if you're right. Also, if you have any other questions throughout this video, feel free to put them down in the comments below. Even if we've already posted it, we'll come back and answer any questions you have. All right, so for us to study a little bit about how we hear today, I made this little anatomy puzzle, just something where I used all the different parts I want to study, made little cards that have the names of the different parts as well as little drawings of it. If you want to do this at home, it's super easy. I used little index cards, and I just drew the little parts of the body onto the card, cut that out. Then I put a little magnet on the back and glued that on there. I'm using a little whiteboard today. So this whiteboard is magnetic, so I'm able to just put that right on there. So you can do that if you have a cookie sheet at home or if you have a cork board and you want to use push pins, anything like that. This is a great tool to be able to study different things in anatomy and kind of see it in both the system, and you can practice deciding what the parts are. So this is kind of a fun activity if you want to give it a try. So for our purposes today, we're going to be talking about how that sound we were talking about goes from the outside world into our brain. And that's all collected, that sound is collected by our ears. So the part that you see on the outside, you're very used to, I'm sure, is called our ear or our pinna. And it's going to collect that sound. That sound is then collected into our ear canal, just a canal right inside our ear that pulls that sound in toward the inside of our heads. That then gets hit against a special membrane. And that membrane, you're probably used to calling it your eardrum. It's called our Tampenic Membrane, and that membrane is going to vibrate. And those vibrations are going to hit against the bones in our ear. So was anybody able to guess how many bones we had in our ear? No? All right, well, if you do think of it, go ahead and put it in our comments. But that answer is 3 bones. It's called our malleus, our incus, and our stapes. They're actually the 3 smallest bones in our body, and they vibrate with that sound that comes through our ears. So once those bones vibrate, they hit against what's called our cochlea. It looks like a little snail, right? Well, inside of those little swirls are little hairs that peek up, and those little hairs take sound information, and they send it in electrical signals on our auditory nerve. So nerve cells are just these little sensory cells that send information from one place to another. In this case, it goes from our cochlea to our brains. So let's go through that one more time, because I know that's a lot of information, and we'll put on our little labels so we can see what the names are. So like I said, sound information gets taken in from the outside world and is collected by our ears or our pinna. It's then sent down our ear canal through to our eardrums or our tympanic membrane. That membrane then vibrates against our bones in our ear. Those bones then vibrate and hit against our cochlea. That cochlea then sends electrical signals down our auditory nerve. And finally, that information is sent to our brains. And that is how sound goes from our musical instruments all the way to our brains, where it's processed in almost seconds, not even seconds. Anybody have any questions? No? All right, well, thank you guys for hearing a little bit more about the brain today. I had a lot of fun learning this with you, and if you do any of these activities, please put them in our comments so we can see what everybody's doing and having fun with. For tomorrow, I want you guys to start thinking about a question. So that question is, what is the number of hot dogs a person can eat? So what's that maximum number that someone can handle? If you have any questions, put it down in our comments. And tune in tomorrow to learn a little bit more about how food gets turned into fuel. Thank you guys so much.